Hello folks, welcome to Outdoors with Bud. I'm your host, Bud Fields. Well, we're out here at a private pond, and my buddy told me we was welcome to come out here and shoot some segments, so I'm going to demonstrate to you some different lure presentations. Now, everybody is familiar with the overhand cast. Now, once again, I'm right-handed, so if you're left-handed, you're going to be holding the rod and doing most of the casting with your left hand. But the overhand cast is probably one of the oldest techniques around. Everybody pretty much knows how to do it. The thing about an overhand cast is you got to make sure if you're on the bank there's no trees close to you, or you're going to be trying to catch a squirrel. And right now that's out of season. But it's very simple. I'm using my spinning rod and reel right now, but you can do the same thing with the casting outfits, and I will show that to you briefly here. But the overhand cast is very simple. You got to think like the face of a clock. Like most of the times when you go to pull your rod back, you're going to come back to about the 10 o'clock position on the clock. When you bring the rod forward to about the 2 o'clock position, that is when you're going to release the line to make the cast. Okay, I'm going to show this to you. You just make sure that you're clear, there's nobody close to you. You're just going to pull the rod back to 10 o'clock, bring it forward and release it, and kind of point your rod tip towards your aiming spot. Okay, now once that lure hits the water, now right now I've got a plastic worm on there. That worm is sinking to the bottom. Once it hits the bottom, I'm going to start reeling it in real slow to see if there's a bass out there that wants to take a bite out of it. Now bear in mind, this water temperature is probably only 50 to 52 degrees, so the fish are not overly active just quite yet. Once it gets up to about 58 to 60 degrees, they're going to be a lot more active. It's just like you and I. In the wintertime, we don't want to go out in the yard. We don't want to go out and get the mail because it's too cold. The same way with the fish. Once it warms up, just like the day we had today, it's a good day to do yard work, but not me. I'm fishing. Okay, now that's the overhand cast. Once again, you just reel in, pull the rod tip back to about 10 o'clock. Keep it, make it comfortable. Now, don't worry too much about casting distance. Accuracy is more important than casting distance. Just pull it back, pull it forward. Let the lure go out there. And you always want to let the rod and the reel do most of the work for you, and hope that the fish concentrate on it and will cooperate. Okay, now that, once again, that is the overhand cast. Okay, I'm going to bring that back in, and I'm going to show you another technique. There's another technique that's referred to as pitching. Now there's 2 or 3 different ways to do this. One way you can just kind of take your lure and pendulum it back and forth just like this, and then you just flip it out there. Very, very, very simple, easy to do. Okay, I'm going to reel that back in and show you another pitching technique. Okay, there's another pitching technique. You just get the lure in your offhand, pull it back, and then just flip it out there, just like that. Now, you're not going so much for casting distance with that technique, more so as accuracy. Now that's pitching, and that technique has won me a lot of tournaments over years, and it's very simple to do. Anybody can do it with just a little bit of practice. Okay, now I'm going to show you what is known as the flipping technique. Now this is more effective like if you're fishing in a bass tournament in a boat and you're getting close. Flipping is kind of an up close and personal technique. When you flip out there, you're going to be flipping at a target, and it's going to be a short distance deal. Maybe there's a stump out there that fish like to get by. Maybe there's a rock that he likes to go by. Maybe it's a lily pad. Maybe it's a weed. Now what you do when you flip, I'm going to turn this around this way where you can see it easier. I'm taking the line in my left hand and I'm pulling it out. As I'm doing that, you can see that bait going up and down. When you flip, you just pull that out there and then just flip it out just like that. And you want to get it fairly close to the target where the fish don't have to go very far to hit it. And when you feel them hit that, and it takes a while to get used to it, but once you feel them, you need to set the hook because you're close to a stump, and the first thing that fish is going to do, he's going to try to get you in there and break you off. They're funny about it that way. Okay, now there's another technique. It's skipping. Now a lot of guys don't do this, but I tell you, it's won me a lot of money in tournaments. When you were younger, you ever get a flat rock and throw it sidearm across the water and you watch it skip out across the water? With a little bit of practice, you can do that same thing with a rod and reel. Now, I haven't done much of it since the last fishing year, but what I'm going to show you, I don't know how to do this just right, make sure we get it. I'm going to, if I skip it out across that way, all you're going to do, instead of having a rock, I'm going to take this rod and reel and bring it back behind me sideways. I'm going to bring it low to the water, and I'm going to try to make that worm skip out across there. It's easier when you got a target to aim at. I'm just trying to visualize, get one. Now that technique, a lot of guys don't know how to skip under like a pier. A lot of times when you're fishing in the summer, when the sun's out and it's hot, a lot of those bass will be up under the pier because it's a place to hide. They're laying there in ambush. They're waiting on a minnow or a bluegill or another smaller fish to come by, and they're going to eat it. Another reason they get back up there is because it's shaded. They don't like the bright sunlight. But with a little bit of effort, you can learn how to skip up under them piers or skip up to a certain rock. And you can present that lure to fish that won't hit anything else. I've had guys come out of a bay in a bass tournament, and they said, well, no, you don't have to go back in there because there's no fish. We got them all. What they were doing, they didn't know how to skip. They couldn't get a lure up underneath there. They were throwing along the edges of the pier and across the front. Well, the bass was seeing that lure, but they wasn't coming out. You put it right in front of them, they're going to hit it for a couple different reasons. Number one, they're either going to be hungry, they're going to be territorial, or they're going to make them mad and they're going to come out and smack at it. But you learn how to skip, it's going to put a lot of fish in your live well. I'm going to try to skip over by those rocks and see if I can show you how to do that. Too bad I can't get a fish that reads my articles that come up and smack that. But once again, that's a skipping technique. Now you get to where you can master that, you're going to catch a lot of fish, but even if you don't, you're going to have a lot of fun trying. Even a bad day fishing is better than a good day at work, in my opinion.